Skinny, scrawny, even flat Stanley. These are some of the names I've continued to hear all throughout my life. See, people don't really mind telling you what they think. Hell, I went out on a date a few months back with this guy who was jacked, right? Well, he thought it was appropriate on the first date to ask me how much I weighed. I told him I was uncomfortable talking about that, and he left it alone at first, but somehow managed to bring it up again later in the evening. Needless to say, there was not a second date. Ever since I was young, I was on the skinny side, but I felt no need to get any bigger. I was fine with the weight I was at. In middle school, when all the guys were weight training for football, I was tumbling, and that kept me smaller than the rest of them. I was also a year younger and hated football anyway, so being big for my class was never in the deck for me. When I got to high school is definitely when I knew I was skinny and I wanted to keep it that way. I was in an extremely physically demanding sport, all-star cheerleading, which meant I could eat Doritos, cake, Fruity Pebbles, and ice cream without gaining any weight. And those were just the appetizers. I had one coach in particular that suggested protein shakes so I could gain muscle, but I told him I wanted to do it on my own without any assistance. But that made me think I needed to change the way I appeared, that I wasn't fine just the way I was. So at this point, I wanted to gain muscle but not gain any weight. Catch 22, right? I was setting myself up for failure and I didn't even realize it. I remember one time a group of us were staying the night at a teammate's house. Of course, everyone was having a great time playing Dance Dance Revolution 3, but I was sitting in the corner, fixating on the cheeseburger with a side of cheese curds I had earlier that evening. I hated myself for it. I felt disgusting. So I walked up the stairs, into my teammate's bathroom, and made myself throw up for the first time ever. When I was finished, I walked back down the stairs and jumped in the next round of Dance Dance Revolution. Speaking of cheer, one time I was getting ready to compete day 2 at a competition and one of the older guys at my gym came up to me. He said, "Yesterday when I was performing I looked in the crowd and all I could see was your skinny ass jumping up and down." I didn't say anything, but I wanted him to know how bad he had just hurt me. Like, did it ever occur to you that you shouldn't tell someone that because things like eating disorders exist? Just be considerate. Now I'm in college, and like most college students, I have my fair share of mental health issues, and my weight is definitely one of the beams that holds up the house of recurring self-harm. Recently, it's become more and more common for me to binge eat, followed by binge purge. I think deep down it makes me sad, remembering the little child I once was who was so innocent and didn't give two fucks about how much I weighed. But in the moment, after I purge, I feel good about myself. I'll say, all those hours at the gym are paying off and I look good. So, as of right now, this story doesn't really have a happy ending. I mean, I like to think that I'm getting better about how I look at myself in the mirror, though some days are definitely better than others. Sometimes I can last a whole week without feeling fat, but the next night I'll be making myself throw up outside at 1 in the morning so my roommates don't hear. I'm working to reclaim a piece of that lost innocence I had as a child.